Hello, everybody. This is part two of the series Moses and Elijah, Modern Day Men. So, if you want a little bit of the introduction for the series, you have to watch the part one, at least the very beginning of it. But you don't have to watch the whole thing to understand this one. So, in this part two, basically the subject matter is going to be Elijah, and the title of this part is Elijah, it's already here. And basically, if we know that Moses and Elijah are modern day men, and we know that this is the fig tree generation, then that means that Elijah, it's already here. Somewhere, Elijah, it's already here. Okay, let me just get into the code. And again, if you follow the series, you're gonna be treated you're gonna be treated to some amazing detail. I mean, really extraordinary stuff in this code. So this is the compound key. We have the 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 horizontal component, Moses Elijah, and the vertical component, it's from the witnesses. And the compound key has three terms. Let's just start with that one. Right? Just put it in there. It's right there. So you see how the compound key actually has three components, and this one right here is and the witnesses. And I didn't put it in this one. It's in the first part of the series, but I didn't put it in this one. But it actually connects to the other two terms through the letter Ayim, the number 70, that one right there, from the vertical, from the witnesses. And then we saw in the first part, the statistics of these compound key is 1 in 97 billion. That's really, really, really amazing. So there we have Moses Elijah, one of the horizontal components. We got the vertical key from the witnesses, and we have another horizontal component and the witnesses. All three connected to each other. Again, the statistics, it's 1 to 97 billion. Let's look at the first turn of Elijah. And again, this part is about Elijah. Let's take a look at it. So this is the first occurrence of Elijah. This is the full spelling of Elijah. And you see how it goes on top of the horizontal key. I mean vertical key. It's right there. Let me just click in here. See Elijah, the full spelling. And and it actually occurs in the table. It occurs 11 times, which is already thematic to the theme of the two witnesses. The book of Revelation is chapter 11, where it talks about the two witnesses. So having the full spelling of Elijah 11 times in this table, it's already thematic. It's like it's a detail. It's a great detail to have in there. And there's more to it as we progress through the code. You're gonna see more connection and detail in relation to Elijah. So let's just take a look at the whole table now. There it is. So we have the key. You see how it goes through the key? You see how it goes through the key? It's right there. This is another letter in there. All right. So let's take a look at the next one. Okay, here's another one. This one is the short spelling of Elijah. The word appears in Malachi chapter 4. Just show you. So we have Elijah, short spelling, and we have the letter Ayin at the end of Elijah, which is the number 70. And again, that 70 is a reference to the 70th week of Daniel or Jacob's trouble, right? And it's a minimal skip. It's a skip 3. You see, it's a doesn't come by easy. Minimal skips don't come by easy. All right, let's take a look at the whole table now, how it looks, and see how it connects to the full spelling of Elijah. You see how it begins right here, and this is the full, where it ends. The full spelling of Elijah ends right there, right below it. You see the connection there? All right, so we have Elijah, and also this one over here, Elijah right here, the short spelling with the number 70 aligns perfectly horizontally. If you look through it, and I'm gonna move the cursor down so you can see it, it goes aligns perfectly with the word witness. This term over here, it's and the witnesses, right? But this Elijah over here aligns perfectly vertically to just the word witness right here. The ayin. It aligns horizontally perfectly, vertically perfectly to the word witness. You see the connection there? It not only connects to the full spelling of Elijah, it connects to the word, to the part of the key witnesses, the horizontal key witnesses. Okay, let's look at the next one. It's this one right here. Let me just move the window a little bit. Okay, so this one, this one's the same skip as the vertical key. You see, same skip. So you can see there's 4-2. The skip of the vertical key, it's 4-2. So it's at the same skip of the key, of the vertical key, and this one is to Elijah, E. It has the letter Aleph at the end, which is, you can look at that as the initial for Elijah, E. So it says to Elijah, E. And let's take a look at the whole table now. I want to show you step by step, and I want you to show you the actual table, the actual matrix, how it looks like so far. So there it is. All right, so let's take a look at the next one. The next Elijah term. Oh, this one's amazing. This one's really good. And it appears right next to this one, now that I remember. You see it's right there. And it's longer. See how many letters it has? It has 6 letters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 letters. And just before I show it to you, you see how it aligns horizontal to the key, to the vertical, to the horizontal key. I'm gonna show you in a minute. You're gonna see it more clear. But you see how it aligns. Let's take a look at it. This one is from Elijah, in Elijah. So you have the letter, and this is the short spelling of Elijah, the word appears in Malachi. So you have basically the word from in front of Elijah, and you have the word in at the end of the word of Elijah. So basically, you will read it from Elijah or in Elijah. You can read both. You can read both of those terms in there. That's really amazing. There's 6 letters in there. It doesn't come by easy. The reason why I tell you this is because from research, from as a researcher, I know that anything 6 letters and 6 to 11 letters, more or less, what the range for keys. So to appear as just an additional term, it doesn't come by easy. It's very, very difficult to come by. So that's really amazing. So there it is, from Elijah and Elijah. And let me just click to the whole table. And look where it is. It's right next to the other one. Right next to where it says to Elijah, E, we have in Elijah, from Elijah. And like I was saying, you see now, you can see how it aligns. This is the beginning over here. You can see there. You see how it aligns right there perfectly horizontally to the horizontal key. Moses, Elijah. That's amazing. All right, let's just keep going. We take a look at this one. Oh, this one's really good. Oh, another one that aligns vertically, you see, horizontally to the key. Okay, so this one, we have 70, Elijah 70. And I have here in parentheses G47. What that means is Gematria 47. So basically here, what's happening, the spelling of Elijah here, if you can see it over here, you see how in Malachi, Elijah in Malachi chapter 4, you have Elijah spelled without the vav at the end. That's the short spelling of Elijah. And that has a gematria of 46. Now, if you spell Elijah without, and that's the was spelled without the vav, which is the last letter. But if you spell Elijah without the hey, the letter before the last, it has a gematria of 47. And I'm not gonna get into it over here because I don't want to get sidetracked from the the subject of Elijah in this video. But basically, the gematria of 47, that's the gematria of the end times Elijah, and I'll probably do another video to talk about that and give you some biblical reference as to why I believe that, and some codes as to why I believe that the gematria Elijah spelled without the hey, which gives you a gematria of 47, is a reference to the end times Elijah. I'm not gonna get into it right now. If you follow the codes, you eventually you see a code that will address that subject. But now right here, for now, it's good enough for you to know that it's Elijah Gematria 47, which is spelled without the hey. And I can actually give you. You can see over here. You can see the term here how it aligns to the how it aligns perfectly to the key. You see right there. So, but what I'm saying is, I can give you a little bit of evidence. I could give you a little bit of evidence, even within this code itself, what I'm talking about, the relationship of Elijah, Gematria 47. Let me just pull out the table right now. Okay. And let's go out to the one we already saw. This one over here at the top. You see, this is Elijah, short spelling, the way it appears in Malachi chapter 4. And you see how it has the number 70 at the end too? Yeah, Elijah number 7. And it's a skip 3. And look at this over here. You see the relationship already? You see it had, and this one has the number 70 both in front and in the back of the word Elijah. You see it has 70, Elijah 70, and it's also a skip 3. So you see the relationship already between Elijah, the word appears in Malachi, and this Elijah over here with Gematria 47, spelled without the hey. So, just to give you a little bit of evidence, a little bit of connection that, I'm not just pulling this out of the hat. So there it is. This is, but for now, just keep that in mind. This when you see the G47 is Elijah spelled without the hey, Gematria 47. And it's a reference to the end times Elijah. And let me give you another nice detail here. Besides that, what I just mentioned, and that it aligns perfectly. You see how it aligns perfectly to the horizontal key. Moses, Elijah. It aligns there. Perfect. So let me give you this other detail with this term. You see over here? So it aligns perfectly horizontal, right? So now let me just count the number of letters to the key. You see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 letters. You see that 12 letters to the key. And obviously the 12 we would definitely associate the number 12 with Jacob, right? The 12 tribes, the 12 sons of Jacob. And obviously that can be also associated to Jacob's trouble, the 70th week of Daniel. There you have it. 70, Elijah 70. You see that detail? You see how amazing that is? Okay, let's see the next one. It's right here. This one's here, and this one is Elijah as, or as Elijah. And again, this is Elijah Gematria 47. And you see how the two of them are connected to each other? Let me just show you right there. Right here. So you see how they're connected to each other? We have here 70, Elijah 70. And right crossing over, we have the other as Elijah, Gematria 47. You see they're right there next to each other, horizontally and vertically. Let's keep going. Next one. Okay, so now so I'm gonna change a little bit. And let me just put this one first, and I'll explain a little bit. Okay, so this is the word the code, right? This is the word the code. Now you may be asking, so why am I looking for the word the code within the subject of Elijah in this code about the witnesses? Um, I have a reason to do that, but to show you, um, just give me a second. So what I'm saying is, I'm not just, again, I'm not pulling this out of the hat. I'm not just out of the blue looking for the word the code within the subject of Elijah, within the code of the two witnesses. Let me just, I mean, if you really want to know more about it, like a really be more specific, you can check out this in my channel. You can check out this video, this first video that I did a couple of years ago. And I think I got to change the title of this because it doesn't really, that title doesn't really call for what the videos for the code's about. But if you're interested in really knowing more about it, you can check out this code. It's really extraordinary. That's one of the most extraordinary codes that I've researched. It's really out there. I mean, that's a really extraordinary code to look at. But basically, I just tell you. Let me just go back to the table. So basically, what I research in that code, it's Malachi. Why is Elijah spelled without the vav in the book of Malachi in chapter 4, where it says, "Behold, I will send you Elijah before the great and terrible day of the Lord." So ever since I read that passage in Malachi, I was always intrigued as why Elijah was spelled. I knew there was a reason. There had to be a reason for it. So that video, that code explores that using the Bible codes and using the passage itself. That's what I did. I went out exploring using the codes and the actual passage themselves. That was my initial starting point. What does the chapter 4 where it talks about that in Malachi, using the text itself and the Bible codes, try to figure out if there was a reason. There's probably more to it as well, but that was my starting point. That's what I researched in that code, and it's really extraordinary. You will see the relationship of the codes to Elijah. I do believe there's a relationship there, and actually you can see it there in the code. I go about it using the text itself and the Bible codes, and it's really amazing. So there's a connection to it. I'm not just pulling it out of a hat. And if you want to know more about it, check that code. It's really out there. It's really extraordinary code what you will see in there. Anyway, so just to let you know, there's a relationship. I'm not just pulling these out of a hat. So there it is. Code is a skip 7. And let's take a look at the next one. No, actually, yeah. Let me just put the whole table now again. Let me go step by step. And you see what I mean? Look where it appears. It's within over here the Elijah Gematria 47. You see how it's right there next to those two terms, the code. And let's look at the other one, the next one. This one is codes and spelled without the mem at the end. You see, it only has code D, which we in code research we do that. There's a precedent even with the term Elijah itself, spelled without the vav in Malachi. There's a precedent. So some terms we look them up without the last letter, and this is one of them. Code D, it's code without the mem at the end. And let's just pull the whole table out. And there it is. Look. You see how we have this little cluster over here of Elijah Gematria 47. Elijah Gematria 47. And you have the code. You see what I'm telling you? That there's a relationship. Even this code itself is showing the relationship between Elijah Gematria 47, or Elijah in general, and the codes. You see where it appears? And these two have the same skip. This one over here, if you notice that detail, so just to let you know the relationship, this one says codes. You see the skip there is 1206. Let's look at this Elijah as. You see 1206 as well. You see the connection, the relationship. Both of them have the same skip. 1206. That's amazing. Okay, let's keep going. And again, this one, okay, let me just pull it out. Again, appears in the same area, the same cluster. You see, all of this is coming out within the same cluster right here. And again, if I look at the word code, there's obviously, the Bible code is obviously related to what? To the word computer, right? Because that's how we do the codes, to the computer. And there it is, the word computer. And look where it appears, right there with the codes and Elijah. Look at it, it's right there. Computer. Right here you have codes. Right here you have the code. Right here in the bottom you have Elijah, Gematria 7, 47 I mean. And over here as Elijah, Gematria 47. That's very nice. Let me look at the next one. This other one's another term for computer, but this one's right at the bottom of the key. You see? Computer. Right there. At the bottom of the key. From the witnesses. From the witnesses. Let's pull out the whole table again. There it is. Right there. Computer. And let's look at the next one. Let me take a look at this one. That's the next one. Okay, so this one, again, this one's a reference to the Torah codes, right? But it has a little. It's very. I mentioned in the first series and the first part of the series about signature, researchers' signature being embedded within the code. Kind of a signature of the person that that discovers the code or researchers the code. Um, and like I said, what I mentioned in that first part is that I always thought about that, but ever since I started doing code, but I've never actually looked it up until this code. This is the actual first code I started looking into the signature of the researcher. So that's what you're gonna see in here. So you have here the letter E. Then you have TC for Torah, the initials of Torah, TC. And then you see my initials there too. BR. You see there? BR. How the signatures in there within the table. That's amazing. So you have ETCBR. That's my initials right there. And let's look how it looks within the table. You're going to see something else too. Look where it appears. It's right here next to the term to Elijah, E. In fact, that same E, that's where they connect. To Elijah, E, the vertical, to the horizontal term, E, Torah code, BR, my initials. So you see that aleph right there that connects both terms. That's the E, the aleph for E. To Elijah, E, E, Torah code, BR. And I showed that though. Actually, I put these arrows here because they kind of point towards each other. You have E, and then Torah codes and BR. They kind of like they're in opposite direction. They point towards each other. That's how you would see it in there in Hebrew. That's amazing. That's amazing. That is amazing detail. Let me just keep going. And I mentioned that because I brought that up because it has a Torah code. We're going over the codes and the computer. Okay, let me take a look at this one. This one, this one extends. It says an extension to the key, to the vertical key. And look what this is. Let me just show you what this is. This is, oh no, it's calling out the previous one. Let me just click in there. Oh, there it is. You see, it says from Jesus, from. How amazing is that? Oh man, it's just from Jesus, from. That's what you have there right below. And it actually connects the from, where it says from the witnesses. If I go a little up, from the witnesses is the same one over here from that connects from Jesus, from the first from in front of the word Jesus. So that's what you have there. Yeah, that's amazing. That's really out there. You see how long that vertical key became? If you connect, obviously the two witnesses, they're the witnesses of God. So to have their from Jesus from, that's, you can really consider it to be part of the vertical key. That wouldn't be a problem. Just making the whole thing a key, one long vertical key. All right. And let me see what else is in here. Oh yeah, I remember what I want to show you here. It's okay, now that I put this from Jesus from, you see how also that is connected to the word computer. You see it connects through the word, to the letter shin right there. The shin, it connects to from Jesus. You see, from Jesus from is connected to computer through the letter shin right here. You see it right here, right there. It's connected to it. And the last thing I want to show you, which also related to this connection right here, is pretty nice. Nice extra detail there. Let me just look for it. It's right here. It's right there. You see right here? So basically what we have here is TC. That's the from Jesus. The one at the end of the phrase. From Jesus, from. The second from. And basically you have in front and in the back of that word from, you have the letter T and the letter C, which is Torah code. So it's basically saying from the Torah codes. That's amazing. You see what I'm talking about? The amount of detail this code has is just extraordinary. I mean, it's just amazing. It's just way too much detail. There it is. You see it right there. TC and from. You have the initials TC and from, and in the back of the letter of the word from, which it comes from Jesus, from the second from. I mean, that's amazing. That's the last thing I wanted to show you with it. It's just, as you can see, the code's really out there. It's really, really extraordinary. So if if we are if we are the fig tree generation, and if we are at the end part of that generation, and as we saw in the first part of the series, the Moses and Elijah are modern day men, then that means that Elijah it's somewhere already here. Elijah is already here somewhere. So that's it for now.